The money you see in your bank account is not as real as you think. This isn't a metaphor, and it's not exaggeration. If everyone went to their bank tomorrow morning and tried to withdraw their money, the system would freeze within hours, because that money is not physically there. This isn't the result of a mistake. On the contrary, it is the deliberate design of the global financial system. It's a structure so old and so normalized that we no longer question it. This structure is called fractional reserve banking, and it is the invisible engine behind global debt, inflation, and the illusion of prosperity. To understand this system, we need to go back to a time when money wasn't just numbers on a screen. In medieval Europe, money was gold and silver. Wealth was measured in coins stored in chests, jewels, and tangible valuables that could be traded. But carrying gold was dangerous. Theft, loss, and violence were constant risks. So people began leaving their valuables with goldsmiths, men who had secure vaults. In return, they received a document, a piece of paper guaranteeing that the gold could be reclaimed on demand. Over time, people realized something important. These papers worked just as well as gold itself. Everyone trusted that real value stood behind them. So instead of trading gold, people began trading the receipts. The real turning point happened right there. The goldsmiths noticed a simple but powerful truth. Not everyone came to reclaim their gold at the same time. If they held 100 deposits, only a few people showed up on any given day. Most of the gold sat untouched in the vault. That created an opportunity. The goldsmiths began issuing more receipts than the gold they actually held. With 1,000 coins, they could circulate 2,000 claims. The extra receipts were lent out, interest was collected, and profits were made from value that didn't exist. As long as everyone didn't demand their gold at once, the deception remained hidden. This was the birth of money created from nothing. What began as a small trick turned into a massive transformation. Money was severed from physical reality. Banks emerged and systematized the practice. Soon, governments recognized its power. The founding of the Bank of England in 1694 is a clear example. It wasn't created to protect the public, but to solve a problem: a crown drowning in war debt. The bank lent money it didn't have to the government and collected interest in return. Those debts were not paid with new treasure, but with taxes collected from the people. The same method is still used today, borrowing money that doesn't exist and pushing the cost into the future. America followed the same path. Early banks issued notes backed by gold, but quickly pushed beyond their limits. They printed more paper than they had metal. Periodic bank panics exposed the truth. People rushed to withdraw their money only to find empty vaults. Banks collapsed overnight. Yet instead of abandoning the system, governments reinforced it. Central banks were created. The message was clear. Even if the money isn't real, confidence must be preserved. Today, the system is far more complex, but its essence hasn't changed. Imagine depositing $100 into a bank. You believe that money is sitting safely in your account. In reality, the bank keeps only a small fraction. The rest is loaned out. That loan is deposited elsewhere, loaned again, and the cycle repeats. By the end, your original $100 has generated hundreds more in economic activity. But only a tiny portion ever existed as real cash. Everything else is debt. And even this explanation is outdated. Since 2020, banks in the United States are required to hold 0 reserves against deposits. None. They are not obligated to keep a single dollar on hand. So what sets the limit? Why don't banks create infinite money? The answer isn't reserves. It's capital and liquidity rules. Global regulations known as the Basel Framework determine how much risk banks are allowed to take. These rules aren't written by elected officials, but by central bankers meeting in Basel, Switzerland. In the modern system, banks create loans first, and deposits appear afterward. When you take out a mortgage, the bank doesn't pull cash from a vault. It types new money into your account. That money exists because you agreed to repay it. Only afterward does the bank check whether it has enough capital to cover the risk. Today, the vast majority of money in circulation is not central bank money. It is bank-created debt money. This is why every financial crisis is ultimately a crisis of confidence. When debts can't be paid or credit stops flowing, the system shakes. And this design produces three unavoidable outcomes. First, inflation. As money multiplies, its value erodes. Prices rise not only because of supply and demand, but because the currency itself is diluted. Second, endless debt. Because money is born as a loan, interest ensures that total debt always exceeds the money available to repay it. Third, concentration of power. Banks earn interest on money they never truly had. Governments use the system to spend invisibly. Asset owners benefit while wage earners fall behind. When the system stumbles, reality breaks through. In 1929, in 2008, and in countless other crises, the same pattern emerged. Bubbles burst, banks were rescued, and the system was reinflated. Because without this mechanism, the modern economy cannot function. The most uncomfortable truth is this: the system cannot tolerate a debt-free population. If everyone paid off their debts, the money supply would collapse, lending would stop, economies would freeze. You are both the fuel and the collateral of this machine. That's why the lesson is clear. Money is not wealth. Real wealth is productive assets, knowledge, skills, and independence. Debt is not harmless. Inflation is not accidental. All of it is built into the design. This doesn't have to be a doomsday prophecy, but it does require awareness. The numbers in your bank account won't make you free. Understanding the system is the first step. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it plays the same tune. From goldsmiths to banks, from banks to central banks, the story remains unchanged. And it isn't over, because this system isn't backed by gold or productivity. It's backed by belief. And when belief fades, everything collapses. So the next time you check your balance, remember this: most of that money is just a promise. If you understand the rules of the game, you can protect yourself. If you don't, you remain a player in a game where the house always wins.